Hey everyone, today I just want to quickly cover this indicator that I made for broadening formations. I'll have a link in the description to get this indicator, or you could just go to indicators and type in broadening formations, and it should pop up right here. But basically these are very commonly used with the Strat, especially if you have a 3, or in other words, an outside bar on a higher time frame. You can expect there to be some expansion on both sides of the range and essentially create this broadening formation. Now, even if you trade ICT and don't care about the Strat, I think to some extent this can still be a helpful tool, because with a broadening range, you're taking liquidity on both sides. So you have a sweep of highs and a sweep of lows right here, and inevitably you're going to have to expand one side of the range. Once these lows took out the extension of this trend line, you can see that we quickly snapped back up. The next day we drifted a bit lower, but the following day we expanded higher. Now again, if we're thinking in terms of liquidity, you're essentially looking for highs to get ran and then ran again. You can see we have this very small expansion above this prior high where this trend line would extend from those 2 points, and then we very quickly snap back into that range. And then you can see we continue to chomp around here for the most part. We take sell side liquidity right here, trade back up, and then eventually expand it to the downside. And basically how this works is if 2 highs are deemed strong enough, then a trend line connection will be made, and we will be looking at the most recent trend line to see if price expands that to the upside. So every trend line starts out as this gray line right here, but then when price exceeds that, that's when it turns red and it has this arrow generated to indicate that we took that side of the range. And all this is pretty customizable. You can see that the circles right here at each high and low are the fractal pivots. So if we turn that off, they will not appear. But basically what this means is that these highs and lows are considered fractals. And a fractal in this sense is basically looking for a high that is higher than 20 bars to the left of it and 20 bars to the right of it. And in order to validate a low, we are looking for a low that is lower than the 20 bars to the left of it and 20 bars to the right of it. So if you turn this down to something like 5, it would be a little more sensitive to some, relatively minor highs and lows. But basically that's how you try to filter out some, undesirable price action. You pretty much just keep this to a higher value and it'll only look for the more significant highs and lows. And obviously this initial color for when the trend line is first drawn, you could change that to something else. And then the color when it deviates from the range, change that to yellow or something like that. And again, this is primarily for people who trade the Strat, but I do think that's an interesting concept for people that trade ICT in the sense of where liquidity is being taken and where we might look for expansion to the other end of the range. Again, if you want to try this indicator, I'll leave a link in the description. As always, let me know if you have any questions, but that's all I have for now, and I'll see you in the next one.